What if I told you that you can save at least 30 minutes every day using this advanced AI chat? In this video, I will demonstrate Gyanibot, your personal AI-powered smart radiology assistant. So radiology questions can be complex, and Google searches and other AI chatbots, they don't have that context of radiology. So instead of doing that, you can use Gyanibot for all your radiology queries during residency and even during your practice. So what can Gyanibot do? It can generate templates, it can answer specific radiology questions, it can generate summaries of articles. You just upload a PDF and that will give you the brief learning points. It can help you in exam preparation, can provide you model exam answers, and it can also provide you grams. Like, it'll also suggest you diagrams for that particular question. And then finally, it can provide you details about imaging features of a particular pathology. Let me demonstrate you a few of these. So let's start with reporting templates. So let's say if I want MRI Brachial Plexus reporting template. So the advantage of this bot is that it will not hallucinate. So it will not create random information. The data that it's using is based on radiology articles, peer-reviewed radiology websites. So everything here is verified. So that is the advantage over something like a ChatGPT, which can give you wrong answers with confidence. So let's look at our template here. So this is a brief template. It talks about clinical indications, technique, and then it gives you this template, which you can copy paste. It also gives you some placeholders, which you can use. And then in addition, so you can ask for a search pattern. So if I ask it, it will give me a search pattern. So let me demonstrate the next question. So let's say I have a specific question. Let's say, what is the most common elbow dislocation? So I've asked it a specific question. So it'll search its database of radiology journals and peer-reviewed articles and give you that precise answer. So most common elbow dislocation is posterior dislocation. The next feature we have here is articles. So I'm going to upload this article about orbital lesions. So as long, make sure that the system is not abused. The limit set for PDFs is 5 MB. So most articles are within 5 MBs. If there is demand, we can think about increasing the limit, but currently it's set to 5 MB. So I'm going to say I've uploaded this article. Please summarize key learning points. So it'll go and analyze this article and provide key learning. So that's the article there. And then it talks about key learning points from that pathology. It talks about specific imaging features. And then this was a brief overview. So we can say that elaborate on these imaging pathologies. So because we asked for a brief overview, it gave a brief overview. Okay, so let's attach this article again. Okay, so I've asked it to share a brief overview of this article for exam. So it's going to analyze this article and prepare a detailed overview for quick review for the exam. So that's that. And then what else? So it also, because it's a big article, it's taking its time to analyze the data. Okay, so this is what I was expecting. Okay, so it starts with the optic nerve sheath complex. It talks about the key anatomy, optic neuritis. So it summarized that detailed article into these short snippets, which are easy to remember. So that's what I did. So let's say if you are preparing for your exam, the next feature is preparing ideal answer for your board exam. So let's say help provide being a model answer for imaging of orbital pathologies. So this will prepare a detailed answer. So another advantage, or the other thing that I've coded in, is that if it feels that the instructions are not clear, if it wants further clarifications, it will ask you specific questions. For example, here wants us to give it a more, is asking if each a broad overview, or if there's a particular aspect. So we'll say that a broad overview of orbital pathologies radiology. So again, it is going to go back to peer-reviewed articles, take its time, and generate a model answer. You can for the exams. The advantage again is that instead of searching for information in multiple articles, this does is summarizes them for you. And obviously you can tweak each. If you don't like an answer, you can tweak it, or you can specify what extra would you want from it. So it gives us a brief overview, and it talks about imaging modalities and roles. So it's a very nice way of presenting this article, exactly what examiners would want you to do. So again, compartments to the orbits based on that article there. You don't have to give that article what it did. And then in the end, talks about testable facts and key giveaways. And then, yeah, so that's about this section. And then finally, let's say I want just to learn about imaging features of thyroid, ophthalmopathy. So it's going to give me imaging specific findings for this. So it gives us a brief overview of the key points. So if you are in a hurry, you can just remember these points. And then again, it gives us a detailed review, the classic format that we use for other features on for other snippets on the website. So it talks about imaging in different modalities and then differentials. So this is a very powerful bot. It has taken me a lot of time to build this just to make sure that it all the features, and it gives you high quality data that you can rely upon. This is included in the membership at no extra cost. I am going to bear all the costs that these AI models are using. So instead of buying a new subscription and learning how to prompt and how to get answers, I have them taken care of. So you can focus on your learning. As always, feedback is welcome.